right that does this, because I've known a lot of, elite Northeast establishment liberals that may not use this as a business model, but deep down, when they look at a guy like me, they see a guy automatically who belongs in the second tier and not the top tier. And
why do you say that? Give me an example. Because you're a Cuban American?
I had a guy who works here at CNN, who's a top brass, come to me one day and say, you know what? I don't want
you wash this dish?
I don't want you. No. It was. See, that's the thing. It's more subtle, and white folks usually don't see it, but we do. Okay, those of us who are minorities, women see it sometimes too, from men in authority. Here, I'll give you my example. It's this. You know what? I don't want you anchoring anymore. I really don't see you as an anchor. I see you more as a reporter. I see you more as a John Quinones. You know, the guy on ABC? That's what he told me. He told me he saw me as John Quinones. Now, did he not realize that he was telling me, when I see you, I think of Hispanic reporters? Because in his mind, I can't be an anchor. An anchor's what you give the high-profile white guys, you know? So he knocks me down to that and compares me to that. And it happens all the time. I think to a certain extent, Jon Stewart and Colbert are the same way. I think Jon Stewart's a bigot. I think he looks...
Jon Stewart's a bigot. Hold on. Now we're going to get into it. Jon Stewart, my old boss, my friend.
Yeah, I think he's a bigot.
How is he a bigot?
I think he looks at the world through... his mom, who was a school teacher, and his dad, who was a physicist or something like that. Great. I'm so happy that he grew up in a suburban, middle-class New Jersey home with everything that you could ever imagine.
What group is he bigoted towards?
Everybody else who's not like him. Look at his show. I mean, what does he surround himself with?
Well, listen, he picks on Jews all the time. He's a Jew.
Yeah.
He focuses on them. I think he overcompensates to some extent. I always notice that.
Yeah.
He goes after himself,
by the way,
and people like him and everybody else. I disagree with you, and I defy you to give me a specific example.
Let me give you an example of what I mean about that, by the way. I don't necessarily think...
Pretty strong words called Jon Stewart a bigot. That's what he a bigot.
That's what happens when you watch yourself on his show every day, and all they ever do is call you stupid. You see...
if he's bigoted against the ignorant, fine. If he's bigoted against the apathetic and he's being elitist saying that others are stupid, but what group specifically? Call someone a bigot against who?
Anybody who's different than you are. Anybody who's not from your frame of reference. Anybody who doesn't look and sound exactly like the people that you sound and grew up with. The people that you put on your show who always reflect somebody who's I'm bringing in to sit around me, you know, who's very different from me. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just don't buy this thing that the only people out there who are prejudiced, all right? The only people out there who are prejudiced are the right. There's people who are prejudiced on both sides.
But you're not giving me a specific example. You're saying he's bigoted towards people who aren't like him. His guests come from he has the most right-wing...
I think...
Don't you point your Sharpie at me, Sanchez. Don't you take your Sharpie out.
I think Jon's show is essentially prejudicial.